going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. We're going to start with one of the crazier stories that you will ever hear involving former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez, a guy who might not have been a great player on the football field, but he was a big star. Well, he was stabbed over the weekend, a story that we broke at TMZ Sports. At first, people hear that 38-year-old Mark Sanchez is stabbed. Prayers for this guy. Everybody concerned about the former USC quarterback, as I almost break my neck. Everyone concerned about the health, the well-being of the 38-year-old quarterback. Only, Lucas, to then find out that Mark Sanchez is allegedly the aggressor in the entire story. Now, let's back up. I'm sure people have likely heard about some of this, but we'll take it here from top to bottom. Mark Sanchez is an employee of Fox Sports. Mark Sanchez was in town in Indianapolis to call the Colts vs. Raiders game that was being played on Sunday. Now, Mark, after everything happened, he ultimately never called the game, but that's why he was in Indy. It's about 12:30 Friday night into Saturday morning. Mark is outside of a hotel. Now, we're going to give you what the police narrative here is and what the alleged victim says happened. But the way the story goes, Mark is outside of this hotel. There is a 69-year-old truck driver that is trying to make a delivery, something with oil inside of the hotel, oil that you would use in a kitchen. Mark Sanchez, for some reason, allegedly goes up to this guy, the truck driver, confronts him in his truck because Mark says, hey, you cannot be parked here. Right, Lucas, he says, you cannot be parked here. Now, the guy says, hey, I'm here for work. This is where I'm supposed to be parked. They have some sort of verbal altercation. The guy feels that Mark is being very aggressive, and he is scared for his safety. So the victim, the 69-year-old, he pepper sprays Mark Sanchez. The guy says, though, that the pepper spray does not have the intended effect, and that at that point that Mark becomes ultra aggressive, allegedly here. Somehow, some way, they are involved in a struggle, in a physical altercation at that point. They're outside of the truck and they are on the ground. This guy must have had a knife on him, the 69-year-old, for protection, because at some point Mark Sanchez is stabbed a number of different times in his upper torso here. During the struggle, and it's unclear if it was the knife or if it was something else, the truck driver sustained some pretty bad injuries, and Lucas will have some more about that in a minute here. But the truck driver got a deep gash in his face, a gash so big, Lucas, that they said later on that it literally went through his cheek and it got his tongue.
Punctured his tongue.
Just think about that, to go through as thick as a cheek actually is. Imagine that. So the police respond, the emergency paramedics respond to the scene, and as you see some of the video here, the 69-year-old is taken away on a stretcher, and the same thing for Mark Sanchez. We then break the story less than 12 hours later that this incident happened, only to then find out that, again, they believe that Mark Sanchez is the aggressor here. A few hours later, Mark Sanchez, Lucas, is arrested as he lay in his hospital bed. Now, he didn't get hauled off to jail because he is still trying to recover from his injuries. So he's in the hospital bed, and he is initially hit what was 3 misdemeanors: battery, public intoxication, and unlawfully entering a vehicle. So 3 misdemeanors, not that it's not serious, but these are misdemeanors. And then, Lucas, things changed a little bit this morning.
Yeah, we found out early this morning that there was going to be an update at a press conference, and the prosecutor and police chief both took the podium and said, but wait, there's more, and this is not good for Mark Sanchez. In fact, the prosecutor said they added a charge, and this is now a felony: battery involving serious bodily injury. on top of the 3 misdemeanors. And now that felony comes with, it carries a penalty of 1 to 6 years in prison. So this is a very serious situation for Mark. We already knew that, but now those consequences could possibly be.
Right. When you're thinking of misdemeanors, you're probably looking at something, if you even serve any time at all, probably a year maximum in most jurisdictions. But like Lucas just said, I mean, now you're potentially talking about a lengthy prison sentence here. I mean, and look, we're a long way from that. Obviously, we have not even spent a single minute in court. But the bottom line is this felony charge can carry up to 6 years in prison. I think one thing, Lucas, and tell me if you disagree with me here, it struck me that there was the prosecutor, the DA, and the police chief, and they seemed like they were like no nonsense. They were not happy that Mark Sanchez, this wealthy, famous football player turned media personality, seemingly came into town and allegedly acted in a violent way. And I think they made that very clear at the presser today.
But I want to be clear about this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable. We've seen over the last several years the number of cases that have to be screened from the prosecutor's office and look through the lens of self-defense, I think, go up. And that's because a lot more people are armed and protecting, which is their right that they have. But when conflicts, which I've said repeatedly, continue to drive violence in our community, simple conflicts over things like parking spots, and the list goes on that we've seen over the last several years, these tragic cases that turn violent because someone has a weapon of any sort. But we're lucky that no one's dead right now as a result of this incident that involved a knife.
And Babcock, we know Mark Sanchez is facing a lot criminally, but also civilly too, because naturally both sides have lawyered up. I spoke with the victims' attorneys earlier on Monday about what their plans are moving forward, and they said, filing a lawsuit against Mark Sanchez and anyone liable for what happened Saturday morning is definitely on the table. And then, as we learned, that was the case. But here's what they had to tell me earlier on Monday.
We're happy and very pleased with how the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, IMPD, have handled this. I mean, it's remarkable how thorough their investigation has been and how responsive they've been to Perry, and we appreciate that. And obviously, that's one track to this. The other track is on the civil side, and we will be pursuing a claim on behalf of Perry against Mr. Sanchez and anyone else who might be liable for the harm and injuries that he suffered.
So there it is, Lucas. And I think at the time we didn't realize when he said anybody else who might be liable for this behavior, that meant that they were also going to be suing Fox Corporation. Now, like we said at the beginning of the segment, Sanchez was in town to work for Fox Sports and call the NFL game. Because of that, and we'll see if it ultimately holds up, but they are attempting to hold Fox Corporation responsible for Sanchez's behavior as well. So and this is the lawsuit right here. It was filed at 2:31 local time in Marion County, Indiana. And Mark Sanchez and Fox Corp listed as defendants. They do not say what they are looking for, so there's no monetary amount listed. I can imagine it's going to likely be a lot of money. So this is something that is going to play out in the courts here, not just the criminal court, but also the civil court as well. Again, bottom line, I cannot remember any story like this in the past where you've got this former NFL star who is in the hospital, stabbed. You worry about, he was literally in critical condition, fighting for his life, and then to find out that he actually might have been the one that was the aggressor. It's truly one of the crazier stories I think that we've covered here at TMZ Sports. It's a long way from over, something we will continue to follow. Stay tuned. Stefon Diggs turns up after getting a big win in his revenge game against the Bills. The fired-up four-time Pro Bowler when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. Stefon Diggs had a big night Sunday night. He returns to Buffalo, and he beats his former team, hands them their first loss of the year. And not just that, but he had a big game. Caught 10 passes for 146 yards. It was his second straight 100-plus yard game. So really nice season. 29 catches, 359 yards on the season for Stefon Diggs. I think it's fair to say, judging by the locker room celebration after the game, none of the other wins this year was as sweet as yesterday's game. Take a look.
Try to stick and take. Bing, bow, bow, bow. Bitch, I bought that holding me. Trolling on your acting like some me. Put this bitch up on that. Yeah, I've been chilled out, mad. I've been showing my. Yeah.
Connor's favorite song, shot calling by NBA Youngboy. They were lit, to say the least, in the locker room, and you can tell, obviously, it didn't end. Connor, by the way, is a massive, massive, massive Bills fan. It didn't end in the greatest of terms in Buffalo, right? I'm sure it was really sweet for him to come in and...
Well, he forced his way out, so I don't know why he's saying that this is personal. He made it about himself the final 2 years there. He was yelling at people on the sidelines. He is known throughout his career, he did it in Minnesota as well, as a diva, right? Like we talked about A.J. Brown last week. Stefon Diggs did the exact same thing.
He's been in a lot of places for a guy as talented as he is.
For sure. He uncurried favor in a place that was very good for him. He was a four-time Pro Bowler in Buffalo. I think maybe a first-team All-Pro, if not second-team All-Pro. He had an unbelievable situation with arguably the best quarterback in the league in Josh Allen, and he forced his way out of there for some godforsaken reason.
You guys could use a guy like him, right?
Clearly last night, I have nothing against him as a player. I think he's an unbelievable receiver, especially when healthy. Yeah. And he had 4 amazing years in Buffalo. I just don't necessarily know why. And he even said it last night. This was personal for me. I get playing there, and I get like whatever issue he had with the Bills and the Bills management, coaching, organization. Maybe it wasn't even Josh, because they did interact after the game last night.
He with the players. You saw him and hug, handshake.
He said, "Love you." They said it back, and like I think personally it was with the coaching staff.
Right. That's
and
what it
maybe
seems
even
like.
the management.
He says, Mojo, after the game, he described his emotions as nostalgic. And he said, it's been a long time. Obviously, I got a lot of love and respect for this team and fan base. I'm excited. I've waited all week for it. So clearly he was very excited. He was looking forward to this game. But I think, like Connor said, I'm not sure he's got beef with the players on the team. I think it's an organizational thing and perhaps some beef with the coaching staff as well.
Well, guys, he's a father now, or he's about to be, so he's got to go out there and show out for his kid. That's on the way. Shout outs to my Maryland Terrapin buddy, Stefon Diggs, right there. I mean, hey, regardless of how this situation went down publicly, he was there. Nobody knows what was going on behind closed doors. Odds are it wasn't with your teammates. Those are your brothers that you're going out there with. They're not the ones you're negotiating contracts with and arguing about playing time and positioning and leadership and roster moves and all of these other things. Eventually, you're going to have some issues with any team that you're associated with, whether that leaks out to the public or not. You never know. Obviously, Stefon Diggs usually has a lot to say, so he vocalizes these things. But even if he would have left on great terms with the Bills, this is still you going back to a team that you used to play for and showing your value to them on the other side of the ball, Like, it's just an opportunity for you to show out. Like, this is something that you make really personal regardless of the situation, and he absolutely did.
Going forward, you got any concern about?
Absolutely. The defense is good. They've got a good head coach now in Mike Vrabel. There hasn't been much competition in the division recently. No. And that game last night, the Bills could have taken a 3-game lead, and now it's only a 1-game lead, and they play another game in December. So, I mean, I'm definitely concerned. I think they looked really good last night. Drake May is as close to an NFL comp of Josh Allen as any quarterback in the league, I think, at this point. So to have that in the same division, obviously a younger guy and an up-and-coming roster, I'm definitely a little bit concerned. But I think the Bills will probably win the AFC East by early December.
I think so, too. UFC champion Merab Dvalishvili proving why he actually is the machine, and not just in the octagon, but also in the nightclub after the big championship fight. TMZ Sports. I don't know where this guy gets the energy. Merab Dvalishvili, that was after 5 rounds of a UFC championship fight where he absolutely dominated Corey Sandhagen. I mean, this was from the opening bell to the bell at the 5th round, just pure domination. Yet somehow, some way, Merab at XS Nightclub later on that night in Vegas just absolutely going ham, having the best time ever. Now, I think I've got an idea of what gave him the energy to go out there and have a blast. I think it's that monster in his hand right there. Merab, not the only one fueled by Monster, however, over the weekend, because, like Merab, on Saturday night, the TMZ After Dark tour was an absolute blast. I mean, this thing is awesome. If you like sort of like a party on wheels and going out to some of the most iconic spots in all of Hollywood, this is the tour for you. This week, we not only had B2K's Raz B hosting the bus, on the bus, hanging out with all of the fans, he actually performed. So you get a performance right there. It was awesome. We mentioned the iconic spots in Hollywood, one of them being the Saddle Ranch. You go get some drinks. Some people even got to ride the famed mechanical bull. This, again, all fueled by Monster Energy. LeBron James at it again. What should we make of his decisions that he has announced for Tuesday? We'll explore when TMZ Sports comes back right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. You all ready for the decision part 2? Yeah, give you flashbacks to 2010 because LeBron James has teased a big announcement that is coming tomorrow. Yep, Lucas, then I know this is going to give you flashbacks to memories that you do not want to think of, because when the original decision happened in, again, July of 2010, July 8th, 2010, of course, LeBron James announced that he was leaving his hometown team of the Cleveland Cavaliers and was going, and he was taking his talents, as he said, to South Beach. And you remember all of the fallout. Well, today, LeBron James goes to his social media, and here is how he teased the second decision, as he called it. The decision of all decisions, October 7th, 12 p.m. Eastern time, hashtag the second decision. So I don't know, Lucas, if you've got any thoughts, feelings, guesses for what this could be. We're just, days away from the NBA season starting. He is on the Lakers. He's entering his 23rd season. What is he doing? What's he teasing?
I have a feeling that he would not have gone through Lakers Media Day if his Lakers status was in jeopardy at all here. Yeah. To be quite honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this were an ad or some kind of endorsement.
That's what I think.
He's teasing another Amazon partnership, or someone commented underneath his post, oh, is this a Chipotle ad? And he's choosing between chicken and steak. The thing is, LeBron has learned from his first decision. He says that was not a smart move on my part, and if I could take it back, I would. I would have just signed with the Heat and gone about my life.
Yes.
And, it's funny, just even thinking about the decision, I go back to that 2010 day. I was with my best friend, Talon Floor, rest in peace, and he was a massive Miami Heat fan. And so one of us was really happy, and one of us was bawling our eyes out around the city of Sandusky.
You know, Mojo, and you remember back to that time. I mean, LeBron was a villain for years after that. That's how hated that decision was. And the people of Cleveland felt like, how could you do this to us in that way?
They felt betrayed.
Right.
Hated.
It wasn't that he left, not only that he left, right? It was the way to have
the way he did it. It was a smack in the face, and then he joins a super team, and on his way out, he just takes that villain role and runs with it. I mean, that was the guy that we adored for so many years, and then to do that to us, it was heartbreaking. But of course, 4 years later, he came back and made everything all right again.
Mojo, what do you think?
Absolute heel turn.
You think is this a major basketball announcement or decision? Like, hey, I'm retiring next year, or this is my last year, I'm going to play with the Lakers, or is this something like Lucas said, it's some sort of paid partnership.
This is going to be him announcing his LeBron Loops cereal line or a sneaker or a TV show, a podcast with his son. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be something that he's making money for. I mean, outside of that, what else could this be, right? I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't think this is going to be sport related. We're too far in at this point to be doing this. This is definitely going to be something. He's capitalizing on all the hype of the last one. But I just think the timing maybe isn't where he needs it to be for whatever he's about to announce. It's probably not going to be fun, whatever it is.
Yeah. I will say
it's going to be awesome for him. He's going to be richer than he already is, for sure.
It could become a full circle moment where he goes, yes, the decision was a bad idea, but let me bring it all back full circle, and this is me announcing this will be my last dance. Yeah. It could very well be the case. I do believe he is the guy who would want a farewell tour.
Oh, yeah.
Every city that he visits, he would want that gift, the rocking chair, whatever it be. I do feel like LeBron would not announce his retirement. He would not announce his retirement after his final season.
Right. Well, LeBron wants to be told everywhere he goes that he's the greatest. We know that's something he cares about. So, I would not be shocked if that's what it is. The beauty is that it's tomorrow morning. So at noon, we're going to know. We come back here and we'll have a lot to discuss tomorrow. What is the decision? And Monday Night Football, a bunch of other things to talk about. Have a great night. We'll see you then.
I'm a lawyer.